Hello everyone, we are students from geography class. I'm Daniel. Today we would like to introduce you to something about this planet. These are two photos of McCarty Glacier in Alaska in 1909 and 2004 respectively. Can you tell the difference between these two photos, apart from the color? I believe everyone could tell that the white thing disappeared. And that is ice masses, or the glacier. Is that shocking? But that isn't the only case in the world. Today we would like to introduce you about melting glaciers and reduction in snow coverage. Glaciers are relatively small ice masses. The Earth has two enormous ice masses, and Greenland is one of them. NASA satellites have kept tracking the variation of Greenland masses for many years. In this graph from NASA, it's shown that the ice sheets have been losing mass since 2002, and that melt is accelerating. Just in Greenland, 286 gigatons of ice mass are melted per year, and this is an example of melting glacier. Apart from Greenland, the ice sea in the Arctic region is decreasing. This is another graph showing the extent of Arctic sea ice from 1979 up until now. Ice levels grow and shrinks in a regular circle each year. You can see that there is a V-shaped curve in the graph, and that shows the amount of ice throughout a year. The green line shows the median ice coverage throughout the year from 1821 to 2010, and the red line is the ice extent in 2000, and the blue one shows the extent in this year, 2021. The red dotted line shows the ice extent in 2012. Arctic Sea's ice coverage is shrinking by 3% or more per decade, and the situation of the problem is similar to that in Greenland. On the other side, the situation of snow coverage is not much better compared to glaciers. Snow coverage across the northern hemisphere and North America are both declining on average, with the decreasing most pronounced in spring and fall. In this graph from Rutgers University Global Snow Lab, it is shown that the data supports this claim, and the average snow cover in North America has been dropped from 3.34 million square miles in 1973 to 3.818 million square miles in 2016. And now our teammate Asara is going to talk about why human is responsible to this.
Humans are very much responsible for snow reduction and melting glaciers. The increased amount of human activities have increased carbon emission and other greenhouse gases, which has a great impact in global climate change. The increasing population is one of the core reasons of the climate change as more goods and services are needed. More factories and mills are being created to support the global population. This is increasing greenhouse gases and making our earth warmer. On the other hand, people are cutting down trees to make spaces for living, which is making the carbon absorption weak, hence leading to rise in temperature and melting glaciers. Now, Daniel will talk about how humans are impacted because of the melting glaciers. Thank you.
Thank you, Afsara. So, in this section, I'm gonna take a look at the impacts on humans. So, in order to understand my problem, we have to understand from where does the Vancouver's water come from. And Vancouver's water come from three reservoirs, which is Capilano, Seymour, and Coquitlam. Uh, these reservoirs essentially work by collecting rainwater and the runoff from the glaciers. So if there is not enough rain or not enough runoff, there is a problem because the inflow is smaller than the outflow and the water level gets lower. And we can see this, for example, in summer when we don't have much rain throughout the months of June, July, and August. But usually in those months, there is still some runoff from the mountains, which can still replenish those lost reservoirs. And recently, there has been a heat wave, which depleted quite a big amount of those reservoirs and contributed to the melting of the glaciers at much higher phase. So the runoff doesn't run off into the or flow into the lakes for the whole summer, but only for the beginning of it, which is a problem since we used almost 1.8 billion liters of water in just one single day throughout the heat wave like we had a couple of weeks ago. And it's unprecedented because usually the as I said, the glaciers last for the whole, not whole, but majority of the summer, and there is not a problem to even um, use the clean drinking water for irrigation for the whole year. But as we can see, it decreased in last years. And Metro Vancouver is actually saying that there is a water shortage, which is quite strange for Vancouver. And they're asking people to conserve the drinking water only for essential uses and try to save it as much as possible. Um, so we don't get into situation like these. This is a picture from United Kingdom. It's a picture of the Silent Valley Reservoir, and it was affected by a recent drought, which depleted almost 66% of its size, which is pretty scary if I take a look at the picture that our reservoirs up here in Vancouver can look like this as well. And the forecast is unfortunately saying into this favor because it's predicted that the snowpack is supposed to shrink by 56% by the mid-century, and there is supposed to be 13 less percent rain according to CBC by the end of the century. So it's gonna be interesting how our future is gonna look like, but we're gonna certainly have to face new challenges which we haven't faced before. And I would like to hand back word to Afsara. Thank you.
Well, now we know how humans are responsible and is impacted due to climate changes, which is resulting in melting glaciers and snow coverage reduction. We have to take relevant action. Some possible actions might be trying to stop climate changes and refreezing Arctic and Greenland. Um, it might sound difficult to or impossible to stop climate change, but I believe together we can make it possible by taking relevant action to reduce carbon emission by 45% by next decade. We can plant trees which absorbs more carbon. We could encourage people to spend on environmental friendly products. We can raise awareness to save our world and collide together to reduce greenhouse gases and stop melting glaciers. In this modern era, through better technology and innovation, a team in Indonesia came up with the idea to refreeze Arctic and Greenland by using submarines. According to Snowden, they would process the ocean water and remove the salt from it and then freeze it and then release to the oceans. However, this idea has a lot of drawbacks, but I believe continuing the research and through more innovations, it is possible to reduce the drawbacks and outweigh the benefits of the world. And we hope that we can work on this together, on the solutions, and lead to a better future together. Thank you.